So Manchester United for Wolverhampton Wanderers 4. So Manchester United actually played Wolverhampton Wanderers yesterday in the Premier League, and even though Manchester United scored 4 goals, but it was really not a convincing win. Even though statistically Manchester United were looking, Manchester United were flying in terms of stats, but it does not really look convincingly based on how Manchester United performed. And you could see that Manchester United has scored 4 goals for the first time under Ruben Amorim away from home. So Manchester United, I'm going to briefly speak about everything that happened in that game, because it was really devastating for Manchester United to play one of the worst sides in the Premier League, and it was really hard for Manchester United to dominate the game, to control the game in most segments of the game, and it was really bad, especially in the first half. Manchester United, yeah, even looking like Wolverhampton Wanderers, we were playing really bad. It was hard for us to control the midfield. The midfield was really open, which was exposing the back line. You could see most of the times Luke Shaw and Mazraoui had to step out of the defensive line to save the game. Manchester United were looking really passive. So in terms of how Manchester United approached the game in terms of attack, you could see that Manchester United were looking to press on the front foot, to press Wolverhampton Wanderers for them to play that long balls, and Manchester United tried to win the second ball, and it was very easy for Manchester United. The Wolverhampton Wanderers, was constantly shooting the ball inside, constantly making Manchester United to be very dominant in that second ball situation. So we were looking to press, and then they play the long balls, and then they win the balls. And it was very okay for Manchester United. We were given a lot of freedom by Wolves. You could see there were a lot of moments where Mbeumo, Koha, Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, they drifted into the midfield line, drifted into the half spaces for them to be able to play. It was easy for Mazraoui, it was easy for Heaven, it was easy for Shaw to be able to play the ball into those half spaces, because there was a lot of freedom for Manchester United players to effectively receive the ball and try to play. And you could see that based on the Wolves game, you're going to find out that from my last analysis, I actually said that it was easier for Matheus Cunha to play those half spaces other than Bryan Mbeumo. And it was evident in that game. You could see that majority of the times where Cunha played in the half space, it was very easy for him. It was a natural thing. But you could see when Bryan Mbeumo plays in his half spaces, it is not really a natural thing for him, because most of the times he gets tensed up, because this is not how he plays. This is not the kind of football he plays, because you could see that majority of the times where Bryan Mbeumo actually made forward runs and ran behind the defenders, he looked so much effective and dangerous other than when he plays in the half space. So Bryan Mbeumo is a player that is naturally made for running behind defenders and trying to be decisive, and that's how the squad is going. He's not a player that is really that effective when it comes to playing in the half space. And Manchester United actually generated an XG of 4.24 in that game, and it could have actually been more, because the players of Manchester United, they really don't know how to manage the ball. I think Manchester United players, especially in the Wolves game, you could see how badly we are in front of goal. You could see how badly Manchester United manages the ball in front of goal, and it's really bad. And yesterday, it was particularly from Amad Diallo and Matheus Cunha. There was a lot of times where they could have easily scored, they could have easily square played, but this indecisiveness in terms of when Manchester United are making attacks is really bad, because you could see in the first example, Amad Diallo is with the ball, has actually made a lot of right dribbles, he has caught, and it is very easy for him to shoot with his right foot, but instead he chops back to no one. And this really makes me to remember the likes of Marcus Rashford and Zirkzee, because from that situation, Manchester United is definitely scoring. In another example, we're going to find out that Matheus Cunha has actually received the ball in the half space, he has turned, and there's a lot of opportunity and space for him to score, but instead he wanted to dribble, and Manchester United loses that situation. In another situation again with Matheus Cunha, he's with the ball and he has been able to dribble past 2-3 men, and it was very easy for him to just square play with his legs, but instead he took a lot of more touches, and Manchester United actually lost that ball. And this is something that Manchester United attackers really need to fix up, and Bryan Mbeumo also did the same. Manchester United was in the counter attack, and he would have just easily passed the ball. Instead, he held the ball, and Manchester United lost that counter attack. So I feel that we should be really decisive when it comes to attacking situations and attacking more. So guys, another issue we want to actually talk about concerning the yesterday's game is definitely the way that Manchester United play in the midfield. It's definitely our lingering midfield issue, because Manchester United is absolutely devastating in the midfield position. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples on why Manchester United actually looks so bad in the midfield position, because it is quite baffling, because despite playing the worst Premier League team, it is actually hard for Manchester United to control the game, especially in the first half. It was so bad, and it was so sad for Manchester United fans like us to watch, because tell me how Manchester United cannot be able to control the ball. We can't be able to cover spaces against Wolverhampton Wanderers. And you could see in the first example, Belaga skipped past two Manchester United players, and then with just one pass, he splitted the midfield line of Manchester United. You could see basically Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, they are struggling to recover. And it was really sad. And this is exactly what happened in the Crystal Palace game. Adam Wharton, Dachi Kamada, they were given a lot of time on the ball. They could take like 3 to 4 touches, and no Manchester United player is going to come close to them. And it's really sad. And in the Belaga situation, you're going to find out that it was Shaw who stepped up from the defensive line to be able to win that ball. And if not that Shaw had a very wonderful game yesterday, Manchester United would have actually suffered a lot, because, like I said, the defensive line actually saved Manchester United in a couple of situations. There were times when Mazraoui, in heaven, Shaw, they had to step up into the midfield and try to win the ball, because the midfield line was so bad. And so in another situation, Balaga is with the ball, he's skipping past a lot of Manchester United players. There you could see how wide open the midfield is. You could see how many times he has taken touches, and no Manchester United players also came close to him. And so Shaw had to step up in the game to win that ball. So this actually tells you that this is not something that Manchester United has to nurture a player from the academy. I think if Ruben Amorim wants to succeed in terms of, and if he wants to succeed, and if he wants to really, put a dent on the system in Manchester United, he needs to get a midfielder. The board definitely has to back him and give him the kind of athletic midfielder he wants, that can be able to cover lots of spaces, because you can see that if Manchester United also wants to make top 4 this season, we need to get a new defensive midfielder, and it needs to happen as quick as possible, because this is very urgent. And if Manchester United was playing a half decent team, we would have actually considered up to 3 goals yesterday, because we were definitely flat-footed in a lot of situations. And also, we really need to have an uncomfortable situation about Matthias Cunha, because you could see that many moments in the Wolverhampton Wanderers game, particularly in the second half, he was really flat-footed. His body language was really not good. I was not really impressed by his body language. And a lot of times he really complicates his football, because he's a very wonderful player. He has skipped past 1 or 2 players. The next call of action is definitely to pass the ball and not to hold the ball as much as possible. I think he tends to hold the ball too much. He really finds it very difficult to pass. And this is something that if you really want to succeed in Manchester United, you really need to simplify the way you play football, because of how he played this season, he lost possession 5 times and he was able to pass 3 times. And this is something that we don't really want in Manchester United, especially in the Ruben Amorim system, playing as a left 10 or playing as a first 9. Your play, they really need to be simplified, and we really need to catch teams on counter attacks as quick as possible. And if you want to do that, I think the players that are playing crucial roles need to be really simplified players. They don't need to, hold the ball as much as possible. So I think if you really want to succeed in Manchester United, you need to learn how to pass as quickly as possible. So guys, I want you guys to give me your thoughts on the comment section about what you feel about the Manchester United game against Wolverhampton Wanderers. I want you guys to like, to share, to subscribe to Tactical Trafford, as we're making more videos for you this festive period. So see you guys in my next video. Ciao.